So, here we are, Season 2's final episode on the first game that I actually haven't covered in an RPG Maker experience ever, Cinder in Another World. Yeah, I kind of fumbled the pronunciation with it before, and the game tells me multiple times here, so if I'd have played it, it would have told me, but whatever. But now that I've gotten it right, it's all water and bridges, so let's keep it moving. As the final game of this season, it was such a refreshing breath of fresh air to play this compared to some of the other stuff that I've looked at. Not saying anything is better or worse or anything. This was just different from a lot of the other stuff I'd played this season, and it was just a nice breath of air. So, without further ado, let's get going, see the final episode of Season 2, and stick around for the end of the video to see what the plans that I have for the future are. Let's get moving. Honestly, this game's story isn't necessarily its high point, but it doesn't really need to be, thanks to some supplementary stories told alongside it. So it's almost like three games at once in some ways, but it weaves together all quite nicely. The main story itself is simple, just collect X crystals before the cat can to save the day. Pretty easy. And ironically, it's the supplementary stories of the churches and the dojos, which I'll explain more in combat because it is more relevant there, that kind of weave together and make it a hell of a lot more fun. The churches are manipulating women and ruining the towns they're in, so it's up to you to go beat the snot out of them and free the trapped women. I enjoyed this a lot, even if the first one did kind of tank my playtime because it took me about 2 hours to beat the first church. A lot of the story is really just go X, do Y, but it is enjoyable enough, especially with the characters that I'll discuss more about in a moment, that really help tie everything together in a nice, neat little bow. So I'm going to give story a 3 out of 5, as there's still more to develop with it. The main party is delightful. Cyrus, Imogen, Nyx, Tom, Melody, and Sakura are the party I've encountered so far, and due to some in-game context clues, I'm going to guess there's a couple more to find. Cyrus, Imogen, Nyx, and Tom make up Team Cinder, and they're a really good starting point. All 4 of them gel together and feel like a functioning team, which is, funny. What they are. Melody slots into the party nicely, working as both a local guide and group parent. You know, the one member of the friend group who basically functions as a parent and keeps everyone else from cliff jumping. And Sakura is just a fun little character with a lot of personality. I haven't seen much of her yet, but she's a fun little ball of energy to splash into the group's dynamics. It's also a really cool thing that the majority of the party are femme-aligned, which isn't something I see a lot. It's a nice little quirk that helps this game stand out, and especially so just with the general wider characters. Out of the other important characters that this game has, the kitten criminal, whatever her name is, the main antagonist of this little chunk I've played, is also really fun. It's a fine line to walk between comedic evil and genuine threat, and I think the kitten criminal walks it, leaning a little bit more towards comedic evil, but has some genuine threat potential sitting beneath the depths too. So it's a really good tightrope that you've walked with the villain here. The characters are obviously amazing, but I haven't really seen all of what they can do or all of them, so I'll only give it a 4 for now. And depending on the rest of the adventure and the rest of the main party, we'll evaluate from there. The combat feels split into 3 camps: magic, martial, and wild, so we'll discuss them in those camps. The martial camp comprises Cyrus and Tom. These two have a thinner learn set than the other members of the party, but compensates for it by learning elemental attacks through fighting dojos in pretty much every city the game has, allowing them to keep up with their contemporaries. This is well recommended to do, as the skill you get from doing the dojo generally is one you'll need for the preceding areas, so it's keeping on level and in theme. The magic camp comprises of Imogen and Nyx. These two learn elemental screen nukes by obtaining chaos crystals, and as of where I am in the game, Imogen has 3 and Nyx has 1. It actually tells me that not only will both of them end up with 4 screen nukes, but they'll end up with screen nukes based on their elemental magic abilities. I can't remember off the top of my head what's what, but that is something I can kind of call. And the wildcard camp comprises of Melody and Sakura. Melody is an archer, which allows her to function as an off-brand martial character without her needing to go through the dojos. While Sakura is one of the best self-sustained tanks I've seen in a hot minute, as all of her attacks come with lifesteal and hit decently hard, so you're not flailing around missing, time healing when you should be fighting. The only complaint I really have is that Sakura's overdrive ability is not as powerful as the others, but it is cheaper, so that's kind of contemplating. It's making up for that fact. The combat here is a really interesting part of the game, namely with how the party interacts with the same combat in 3 different ways. So I'll give combat a 4 out of 5 here. The location design and exploration here also isn't really the game's strong suit, but in a similar vein to the story, I don't necessarily think it matters. While the world map and the cities feel a little empty in places, the actual exploration areas, including caves, plains, and dungeons, look great. Special mentions have to go to the dry forest, power plant, and the on-screen ocean temple. I liked all of their themes and they didn't run on too long, allowing me to enjoy it and then move on freely with very little bringing me back. Location design is always the hardest part. Trust me, I know. So I don't hold exploration too harshly in my rankings. One thing I will give this game bonus marks for is that as you continue in exploration, each area has a different text box color, and it jumps between the color based on the element of the area you're fighting, which I think is a really good attention to detail. So I'm going to give location design a 4 out of 5, because not only is that little detail diegetic HUD design really good, so is the everything that isn't towns and cities. While they feel empty in places, especially in some of the earlier ones, everything else is teeming with life and character in such a way that I won't let a few lesser pieces drag the score down too much. I really enjoyed the time I spent on In Another World. It's a delightful little jaunt that has some very interesting twists on both traditional combat, exploration, and characters. And while it handles pretty much everything the same as a lot of the other games I reviewed this season in the end, the little things that help each character stand out from each other, both in and out of combat, is the most important part here. I'll give this game a 4 out of 5 for enjoyability, giving a final score of 19 out of 25. Another member of the 19 out of 25 club, even if quite a few of them have graduated out of it. Well done. I'm eager to see how the game grows and evolves in Season 3, and the story is both an engaging adventure and a self-acknowledged crusade, which does make fun of itself occasionally, which is a great ball of fun, and an adventure that I'd recommend people check out if they have the ability to do so. It's just, a nice little adventure. So, that's it for Season 2. It has had its highs, its lows, and its unfortunate hiatuses. But now we can move on to Season 3 and the future beyond. The Dead by Daylight video that I mentioned in the last experience is still in the works, but it'll probably need a lot longer in the editing suite than I originally expected and with my other projects, simply because it's 20 hours of content to edit down into roughly about an hour's worth. There's, of course, Season 3 of the RPG Maker reviews, which will kick off after a short break and a probable 7th RPG Maker experience for good measure, just to get a few extra games in that list, which is growing. And there's a few other games that I'm wanting to consider taking a look at that aren't really in the RPG Maker series, especially one that I've just been getting into, Date Everything. I've had a pretty good play run of that, so I might take a closer look at them in their own genre of videos. And as of writing this script, we're at 57 subscribers. It's a drop in the bucket compared to some of the other ones that are really high up there, but it's still an achievement for someone that didn't expect to get any higher than like 10. So thank you all for watching me review these games made with RPG Maker, and hopefully the future will let us expand outwards and beyond. Have a good rest of your day and night, and I will see you in the next video.